Hey everybody, welcome to another great episode of my Partridge Family collection. If you're an adult and you're caught playing with paper dolls, some people might think you're a wackadoodle and you might get sent to the funny farm. But if you're an adult and you collect vintage paper dolls, I think most people would consider that pretty cool. And I know personally, I would want to sit down and have a conversation with you because paper dolls have always been very interesting to me. I think to most people who collect anything. I don't collect paper dolls, but I do collect Partridge Family items, of course. And we all know that the Partridge Family came out with a few editions of paper dolls. And so I'm so excited to share with you one set of my paper doll collection that has to do with the Partridge Family. They did family collections where they had the whole family you can dress up, but they also had some very special Susan Dey themed Laurie Partridge paper dolls. Susan Dey as Laurie, they were called. And there were a few sets that came out. I have them and I'm going to share them with you. So I'm really excited about the show. Before we get started, I did want to show you some. I have my whole stack here of paper dolls and I'm going to show you, but you might see this. Let me get this book here because this is just one of the sets that I have. It's created by Saalfeld, and there was another one that came out that was produced by Artcraft, I believe. But anyway, one thing I did want to show you before we dive into the paper dolls, which I'm so excited about, you'll see on all these paper dolls this name down here. Let's see if I can blow it up a little for you. Kate Greenaway, Fashions for Laurie by Kate Greenaway. And you'll see that on all the paper dolls. But Kate Greenaway, for those of you who don't know, just a quick behind the scenes information on Kate Greenaway. She was an artist and a children's author, like at the turn of the century, late 1800s. And she was known for creating or illustrating children for children books. And she had this look, this fashion look about her that was really kind of took a generation by storm, really, in the late 1800s, the Gilded Age. Interesting stories. Her mom was actually a dressmaker. And so the family lived above the dress shop. So Kate Greenaway would always go down to the dress shop. She'd be drawing. She'd, she was very much influenced by her mother's fashion sense and design sense. And they also, from what I understand, had a little like English garden. She was from England, by the way. And so she would sit out there and draw, and again, influenced by nature, really, and patterns. And we see this in a lot of her illustrations, the patterns that the little girls wore on their dresses, or the very floral butterflies. There's definitely patterns that we see in nature, and Kate Greenaway took those, and that influenced her drawings as well. She also was big in the greeting card industry. The high society ladies at the time took notice of these fashions in these drawings. And remember, they didn't have TV or, radio or anything like that in the late 1800s. So they were very much influenced, as far as fashion goes, by what they saw in the paper, what they read in books and illustrated books and things like that. And Kate Greenaway had a big influence on that. And so women were dressing their little girls in the same fashion and going to dressmakers and getting these clothes made. And so it was a pretty big deal as far as fashion goes. And one of the department stores, they trademarked it. They gave her the trademark, and they became Kate Greenaway Fashions. She also designed the granny dress. The granny dress, the long, kind of like narrow dresses, very long sleeves with the lace around the end of the sleeves and on the collar. And so they were selling these fashions. Well, like fashion usually does. If you're a fashion major, you might know this. Fashion comes back, and in the mid 60s to late 60s, early 70s, there was a revival for Kate Greenaway, right? These hippie girls, right, were wearing these type of fashions, and the patterns, the floral patterns, the long granny dresses, which, by the way, Kate Greenaway named. granny dresses after her own grandma, because I guess she wore that type of style. And Kate Greenaway was very much influenced by her, obviously her mother and her grandmother and nature around her. And so there was a big revival for her fashions in that period of the late mid 60s to early 70s. And the Partridge Family, if you didn't know, they actually had a line of clothing, and I believe they were sold at like J.C. Penney's. Mostly little kid. I don't ever remember like ever wanting to wear Partridge Family outfits, because I think they were a little too girly for me. But we see them a lot, especially if you watch the early episodes. Tracy's wearing a lot of the Partridge Family label fashions. And so in the Susan Dey paper doll set, you'll see these fashions a lot, and we'll talk about them as we go through the books and stuff, because it's very interesting. But I didn't want to like skip over the Kate Greenaway tie-in, because definitely, they created a whole clothing line, Partridge Family clothing line by Kate Greenaway, fashions by Kate Greenaway. They took her style, and then they also incorporated it into all the paper doll books, which we're going to look at right now. So let's get on with it. So we'll start with this set, and this is the Susan Dey as Laurie from the Partridge Family, paper dolls featuring Kate Greenaway. I hope I wasn't too rambly on with Kate Greenaway. Google her; it's interesting. She's an interesting story. And this was the box. This came out in 1972, and like I said, it was produced by Saalfeld. And this is an unopened box. I really dig this. I really love it, only because, you can't beat factory sealed items. And I think with something like this, it's really great. Saalfeld, Susan Dey from the Partridge Family. And this is kind of why I think they didn't do Susan Dey color forms, is because of this, because they had licensing with the paper dolls. And I don't know, like paper dolls are so much more like in line with Susan Dey at the time, and with Laurie. Like I've always said that she was like the most fashionable teenager on TV, I think. And I said it half-heartedly that I don't think she ever repeated an outfit, but she did. I'm actually rewatching the series right now, paying very close attention to Susan Dey's outfits, and it's very rare that she does repeat an outfit. She does from time to time, but she always mixes it up a little. Whether she's wearing a different blouse with like a long sweater vest, or maybe she has her blouse buttoned to the top, and then you might see the blouse again, and it's not, it's unbuttoned at the top. So she's always doing something different. And as we know, Susan Dey was a model, so I'm sure that she had a lot of influence on what she wore and how she wore the outfits, because she was, like I said, the most fashionable. I mean, I think Laurie was like the social conscience anyway of the show, but you put in the fashion and it just adds another layer. We're going to look inside this box, because obviously I have another box that's opened so we can actually look inside. But the one thing I did want to share with you, and we showed it to you a little bit, is the book. So there was a supplemental book that came along with this. And like I said, this came out in 1972. So you could buy the box, which is something I would have gotten for Christmas. Right, perfect Christmas gift. Or you can just buy the magazine, which is like pretty much the same. There's not as much. I would call it a magazine, but a book, I guess, of the paper doll books. And we're going to look through this in more detail. But they had like these supplement books coming out. So like, whereas the supplement book would cost 39 cents, the box here, this box would go for about $1.50, so a little bit more expensive. And then, like I said, let's look inside. I'll swap this out for a little different version. Not in as great shape. It's been in a closet with a bunch of games on top of it. As you can tell, it's got that indentation, but for the most part, the colors are still pretty right on. This is a little sharper, obviously. It's in the factory sealed. Still has the old price tag on it, actually. This is very cool. But let's look inside, because that's the fun part. Hey, if we're collectors, it's okay to play with paper dolls. That's my theory. So yeah, so this is the same box. So if you would have opened this box, and it tells you actually it has 2 punch-out paper dolls and costumes. Again, Susan Dey as Laurie from the Partridge Family logo. And then this is what you would get. You would get it. I mean, if you're too young to remember paper dolls, you know, this is basically the paper doll you would punch out, and it has a little stand, and then you would just dress her. And then this one came with a little poster, Susan Dey everywhere. And if we look at the book, and we'll just be going back and forth, it's the same. You can see that. It's the same. I think the book has little stories in it, and that might be the difference. Let's see if we can see our little, yeah, there you go. Like just some advice from Susan. To have a friend is to be one. Be a volunteer. Be sure to attend all school activities. I mean, right? She was the cool older sister, but she also had, like I said, a social conscience. She was, you know, she was the protester, the women's libber. And boy, I mean, as a young girl growing up, Susan Dey and Laurie Partridge, they're just a great role model, I think, and very much a product of her time, right, of her generation. Being 16, you know, in 1972 or whatever, Laurie Partridge, I think that was her age when the show started. So she was probably like 17, 1972 on the show. You know, you're starting to find yourself, you know, you're looking to others for fashion advice, and she gave it all. And she gave boy advice too. See, she's like, where was it? She's like, you know, exercise, get plenty of sleep, be sure your skin is clean, use a clear lipstick and light blusher. Your hair should always be shiny, clean, and natural looking. Boys like it. They like swingy, bouncy hair. And so, like, right, she was the cool sister who was giving you all this advice. Very cool. So this is what you would find in the book. Not as much, not as many paper dolls, but as far as like the dresses and stuff, but a cool little thing. Then plus on the back, they have like, you can punch out, make yourself a headband or a necklace. The fact that this is like still intact is so great. Never been really played with. So if we look back into the box, and we're going to see the same type of deal, except you see you got the headband and the necklace, or the necklace, and then here are the fashions. And like we said, like the Partridge Family by Kate Greenaway. If you had a Partridge Family outfit, a dress or a blouse or something, this is the tag that would be on the back of the collar. The Partridge Family by Kate Greenaway. And some of the outfits actually did have a little partridge on it. There were some, so you could see in the, I think I've seen Tracy wear this outfit a few times on the show, but never Laurie. I'm not sure that Laurie wore all of these outfits. And like I said, I'm going through all the shows right now, just trying to pick up what she's wearing and if she's repeating an outfit and things like that. It's kind of fun. What else do I have to do, right? But yeah, these were good times as far as paper dolls. If you're not used to seeing paper dolls, you would normally, and we see this with Laurie, she's got, let me put this here, she has 2 poses, right? One has her arm on her hip, the other one has both arms down. And so you would just match the dress or the outfit with, you know, whatever pose. If you were dressing this Laurie up, you would use this. Obviously the 2 arms are down. And then we see this one with the arm on her hip. You would use it for that one. And we just cut these out or punch them out and then put the little tabs over her shoulders, and she'd have all these outfits. I mean, look at all these outfits that she has. I mean, there's just like, yeah, there's like outfits, there's different, you got boots, and there's a little embroidery of the partridge. That's what you would find like on some outfits, like you can see right here on the sleeve. This is another outfit I think Tracy wore, not so much Laurie. But I was watching an episode recently, I can't remember, you know what it was? It was the one with Rob Reiner as Snake, right? The motorcyclist. I forgot the name of it. the episode, but she's actually wearing not this exact style, but this pattern as a longer dress, kind of a longer dress style. But she is wearing this pattern, I noticed. So she definitely did mix it up as far as her fashions go. And the paper dolls, I think, spot on. You know, with that, like I said, with some exceptions where I don't ever remember her wearing something like this, but I do remember Tracy wearing it. So again, you know, they might have been tying, I'm sure they were tying this into the, you know, the clothing line and selling that. This is a selling point, right? Oh, I have, you know, I'd have Laurie Partridge's paper doll with this outfit on. So, and I saw it at JCPenney, so I'm going to buy it, right? The thinking behind that. I mean, that was the whole marketing of the Partridge Family, right? It's just like merchandise, plus the clothing line. Now, on the Kate Greenaway styles, they also had this tag. David Cassidy did not have a line of clothing. It was all women, girls' clothing, or, you know, young girls, teenage girls. But they did have a tag of David Cassidy. David will love you in this Kate Greenaway. Yeah, trying to push David's popularity there. I was watching an episode recently where Laurie was wearing this outfit, little shorts, like, right, short shorts and a long sleeve shirt. The only thing she had on, maybe it was too much leg for TV at the time, but she had on like stockings on, like nylon stockings underneath the shorts, which I thought was interesting. But definitely are familiar with some of these fashions. I see them in the episodes, especially as I'm going through and watching them, paying attention to Laurie's clothes. We see this pattern again. It's a very cool pattern. I've seen a few of these dresses on, not on eBay. Surprisingly enough, I've seen them on Etsy. And for some reason, I've never like picked them up. They're very expensive, but they're rare. You know, I've seen them go up for auction. The real clothes, not the clothes that the actors wore, but from the Kate Greenaway line of clothes. It's pretty interesting to see them. I wouldn't mind seeing it in real life, just looking at it, but I don't know that I'd want to buy one. I guess it'd be kind of cool to have. Yeah, so that's the inside of this set, which, like I said, is the same as the supplemental book, or the expansion book, I guess it's called. In the Partridge Family Bible, they call it the expansion book. So in 1972, you could get this. Great gift. Or if you're at the magazine stand and you want something to do real quick, pick up one of these little books. It's expansion books. This is Susan's TV Family. Cut it out and hang it in your room. Very cool. If you're a vintage toy lover, you're loving this right now, right? That's so great. Okay, so that's one set. In 1973, another set came out. So here's the other set that came out in 1973. And again, it came with an expansion book, another 39 cents. So we'll look at that in a minute. Let's take a look at this. Oh, this box is pretty beat up. I mean, think about it. Came out a year after the box that I just showed you. Again, we see Susan Dey with plastic stands, I guess. 21 costumes, fashions by Kate Greenaway. Let's look at all sides of this. So again, this is a Saalfeld Publishing Company, Akron, Ohio, made in the USA. Pretty much what we saw in the other book. Child advancement activity, I guess for dexterity, right? Putting fashions together. And we're going to take a look inside, because I don't have a factory sealed of this. This one's a little harder to come by for some reason, and it's a year younger, I guess, than the previous one I showed you. But even look at the cover. I mean, this is Susan Dey to a T, right? She's got her little sweater vest on. It's kind of a midriff with her belt buckle. I was watching a Netflix show not long ago, and it was set in the early 70s, and there were these two teenage girls talking, and one of them had on these jeans, and her friend was like, "Oh, those jeans look so nice on you. You look like Susan Dey." And I thought that was like spot on. Whoever was the writer of that show is like knew that era, because Susan Dey was definitely the fashionista of the day of TV at that time as far as teenagers go. I don't think the Brady girls were that much, you know. They were like every girl, knee socks, pleated skirts. I kind of looked like the Brady girls back then, right? But Susan Dey definitely took it up a notch. She was that, you know, she knew what was going on as far as fashions go. So in here we have the little plastic stands, and it also came with some scissors. There are some fashions in here that we can actually take out and see if we can dress her up a little. Some of these already punched out. I could see Laurie wearing this. And then this came with, of course, the two poses. And I think the poses, I think everything's the same as the previous one, except for maybe the hairdo. Let's see. Since we have this out and we're kind of having fun with it. Yeah, it looks, yeah, they didn't change much as far as like the basics. It looks like the same face, same pose, different outfit, different hairstyle. So that's okay. I'm trying to save a little money. And this has been popped out, so yeah. And then you can see where those outfits were cut out. So this was a little on the used side, right? But you can see the outfits are the same, even though it's a different set. Came out a year later. They didn't really change anything other than the packaging, I guess. And her undergarments, her original garments, and her hairstyle. Everything else looks the same. Again, saving money. Repackage it. Pretty smart. And then, yeah. So these aren't perforated, so this is something you would have to cut out. Why they give you the scissors to cut out. Child safety scissors there. You have to be really careful when you're cutting them out. And then what's this? Due to current nationwide shortage of paper products, the cardboard support originally intended to be included. This box has been omitted. Thank you for your cooperation in our effort to conserve our natural resources. Help save a tree. Interesting. I didn't know there was a paper shortage in the early 70s. I knew there was like a gas shortage and inflation was through the roof, but yeah, I didn't know that. Interesting. But didn't stop them from making the paper dolls. They just didn't want to make the cardboard support. That would be, so I guess that's why they did the plastic. And now we don't want to use plastic. Can't keep up. But anyway, so let's dress up Laurie here for a minute. There you go. Put that there. And there. You could play paper dolls. Very cool. I definitely remember her wearing this outfit. Or something similar. That's very much the style of the day, right? In the early 70s. The Kate Greenaway look. That had a big revival. Can you imagine? Who would have thought, right? That her fashions would come back again in the late 60s, early 70s. And be part of a whole fashion line of this TV show. And also, of course, the paper dolls. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. It's been a long time since I played with paper dolls. Don't tell anybody. Hey, it's vintage collecting, right? So this also came with an expansion book, but it was actually produced by Artcraft and not Salfield. Same dolls as that came in the box. I guess that's why they called it an expansion booklet. And again, you know, this was 39 cents as opposed to the box, which was probably about $1.50, $1.25, something like that. This is in pristine condition. This has not been cut out. This has not been played with or used. And again, we're seeing the same outfits. Look familiar, right? Got the David Cassidy tag, the label, embroidered partridge, which we would find not on all the outfits, but on some of them, like this one right here on the skirt, right here on the chest area, crest. And again, this is not perforated, so you would have to cut it out. And with the book, it's pretty much the same copy as they used in the 1972 version, right? To have a friend, remember that, be a volunteer, attend all school activities. Boys like girls' hair is swingy and bouncy. So if you got the set in 72 and you got this set in 73, well, you're pretty much getting the same thing, or maybe, you know, they're just marketing to another age group. I love this pattern. This is definitely something I would have considered wearing. And you can see the little embroidered partridge there on the collar. A little mini poster. It's interesting. Of partridges. So there you have it. The paper dolls sets. I'll put these all here. I can see them all. Great stuff. Like I said, I'm not a paper doll collector, but I'm a Partridge Family collector, and so having something like this in my collection is priceless to me. Really is. And it's very cool. And it's also very cool to go in and look at some of these and take them out and kind of dress them up, and brings back a lot of memories. And I wish you can smell some of these. As I open this book, it's just getting an aroma of an old smell that will bring you back. I have one more thing to show you on this. So, just a fun thing. Let me show you. These little scissors. My hands are so small, they still fit. And they're kind of very cool, right? And those little paper dolls, 72, 73, they came out. And like I said, I have some Partridge Family paper doll sets, which we'll save for another show. I really wanted to dedicate this episode to Laurie. Susan Dey as Laurie Partridge, I guess is what they call it. Paper dolls of Susan Dey as Laurie. That's what this box says. So they really just made it a very distinctive that this was about Susan Dey. Right. Good for her. But one thing fun that I wanted to show you, I picked this up. I don't know where I got it. And I don't think it's original art or anything. I just think it's a poster. But it is a poster of the artwork for that box I just showed you. I don't know if you can see this, and it's rolled up. This is looks like something that would come off a printing press, right? I'm not sure if it's an original, something that was cut down, for the box. I'm not sure, or if it's just the paper is very thin. So it's not like poster paper. So that's why I'm thinking maybe it is part of that artwork. I don't know, though. There's nothing else on it that indicates there's no color bar or anything like that you would see on something, I guess, that came off the press, right? That was going to be part of a packaging. I worked in packaging and labeling for a while, and I don't know. I don't know what this is, but it's very cool that I have it, and I probably should frame it. Maybe I will. It's paper thin, ultra paper thin. So I don't want to tear it, but I don't even know. I might have, I mean, the way that it's wrapped, I would imagine it just was like in a poster form. Maybe it just was poster. I don't know. But that, yeah, you like to see that too. Uh, Definitely great to go through these paper dolls. It's like one of those childhood memories that you just can't shake. It's just like the color forms, right? When we went through the color forms episode, the David Cassidy color form set. But I always wondered why they didn't do Laurie Partridge color forms. And I think this is why. I think they were so involved with licensing the paper dolls and pushing the clothing line and everything that they just put in everything they had with Susan Dey. And gosh, I hope she got some money for this because it was really cool. I don't know. I know that they, who knows what happened with the licensing and residuals and things like that. But if you're a paper doll fan, you're a paper doll collector. I know a lot of you are because I see you on eBay and social media and things. And so I was really excited to share this with you. And stay tuned for another episode coming up where we'll be looking at the Partridge Family paper dolls because they had the whole family you can dress up, and those were always fun. And there was a couple of sets of those too. So, but Susan Dey as Laurie, one of my favorite things. Brings back so many memories. I hope it does for you too. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. So thanks for watching, and see you next time.